Welcome to another tropical update from Cayman Hurricane Center. I am Adam Thune, reporting. We are talking about Invest 95L out in the main development region. This invest is about a couple hundred miles east of Barbados, or just east, southeast of Barbados, more or less 750, 800 miles, give or take. This system is moving towards the west and does have a fair chance to develop. Here is the system on satellite imagery. Just went into night vision mode here. And as you can see, the system is definitely getting itself organized this evening. Definite rotation that is showing up. And also for the evening, a fair bit amount of convection finally building on this system. Also, you can notice that there is some banding features starting to take place, even though that quite a few of them are shallow. There are a few convective topped bands that are taking place. But as it is, the system is, or at least was located at the 00Z update at 10.4 north, 47.8 west. Winds are about 25 knots, 30 miles per hour. Pressure is still a little bit on the high side, 1,011 millibars. But again, as I said, it is looking like it will develop. And again, that point, it would be more or less right around here. Since then, looks like it'd be more located here, either way, westwards. And as you can see, definitely here some banding features starting to take place within the system here, and it is getting itself better organized. I also will be discussing on why this here is starting to pop up in a little while here. But just continuing on here, the National Hurricane Center has bumped up the percentages for the system, 30 with the next 48 and 40 the next 5 days. The percentages will likely increase in the next day or so, with the also chance of the area possibly becoming tropical depression number 5 or tropical storm. Could be potentially as early as tomorrow. But anyway, here is the area on the tropical weather outlook graphic. And as you can see, it is making its way towards the southern Lesser Antilles, the Windward Islands, and then eventually it'll be making its way further into the Caribbean. And so looking at the forecast guidance for the system, as a general westward track into the Caribbean and islands such as Barbados, Grenada, and St. Lucia, probably up to about Martinique or Dominica, should really be paying attention. As far south as Trinidad should be keeping a close eye on this. And here is the model guidance here for this. And so as you can see, general westward track, and then definitely after it affects the eastern Caribbean areas in the central Caribbean, as far south as the ABC Islands, far north as southern Hispaniola, should really start keeping an eye on it thereafter. And then from there, areas like Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, as well as Central America should really keep an eye on it thereafter. But yeah, this could potentially be one of our first significant threats for the Caribbean for the season, and it probably, uh, might probably not be the last. But again, as mentioned, probably Dominica, South, all these islands here down to Trinidad should really be keeping a very close eye on this system here. And it won't be very long to go before it does start its impact, especially on the island of Barbados, which is actually located a bit further out from the island change here, which is along 61 West. So and that would be expected within the next 3 days, too late on the second day going into the third day from now. And then, of course, by the time we reach day 5, 6, 7, should be somewhere within that general area. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. In terms of intensity guidance, so far there's a fair bet saying that tropical storm intensity likely somewhere within this region, and some even going as far as taking it to hurricane intensity in this area to anywhere from that area to about here as becoming a hurricane. I'm a bit skeptical just now on saying yes on hurricane. We'll have to wait and see. What we do need is data from reconnaissance aircraft. And luckily, very luckily, we will be getting that recon data coming up tomorrow. They'll be starting their recon missions from St. Croix down here, then flying down to the system here starting tomorrow. And we'll get the info, and it'll help with the forecasting, it'll help with the intensity, and then we'll have better ideas, sharpen up those forecasts, and we'll know if we'll be getting a hurricane or not. We'll have to wait and see. There are some issues, such as the Saharan dust along here. There's a little bit of Saharan dust along here, but it's not as strong. The other issue is that the upper level winds do have an upper level low located in here. Another one that's located here. It is causing a little bit of sharing action along the Caribbean here, but if this thing does develop a good outflow, upper level anticyclone over it, should protect it, and as it moves through, we'll see how well that works out once the system gets into here. Just another thing too is that Eastern Caribbean area here is usually considered the dead zone or graveyard area during this time of year, because we have the rapid change in winds, with the trade winds usually pretty strong due to big high pressure system out here, and it's throwing everything in. So luckily this year, though, trade winds have been relatively below what we've been seeing over the past couple of years, and the system isn't really screaming across the area like, say, last year's Earl, the invest that eventually became Tropical Storm and Hurricane Earl in the Caribbean. When it was in this general location, it was moving something like 20 to 30 miles per hour. This thing is only moving at about 15, so much slower, and so the center circulation wouldn't be running out in front of the convection and decoupling occurring. The other factors that will be affecting this is the sea surface temperatures. Luckily, the sea surface temperatures are a positive factor for development for the system, as very warm sea surface temperatures are in front of it, and that will help it develop more. Anyway, so as I mentioned, there is something else. It's not yet mentioned on the tropical weather outlook, but it may be mentioned likely tomorrow or Tuesday. And that area of interest is actually just, as I said, east of 95L. Remember when we saw in the satellite imagery, we noticed that little buildup of convection to the east. And this is it right here. This little area here that we're watching closely is a tropical wave and a monsoon trough, and what appears to be a developing low pressure area as well. The tropical wave is located along here. Monsoon trough is cutting across like so, and then seems to have a possible developing low around here. There won't really be too much interactions between our invest here, which is already quite well away from the system, from each other here, and with 95 moving west, this is expected to kind of move west, west, northwestwards, and likely not interact with the invest. But what will probably interact with this system is this tropical wave coming in, and I do believe that this will help to aid the energy for this. In terms of development, there are some models that are somewhat picking it up, not really developing it too heavily as they are developing 95L, but nevertheless still showing that up. So that will be another thing to take a look at. So this is the overall picture on the surface map. Here we have the latest surface chart from the National Hurricane Center. And as mentioned, we have our high out here, and it is moving off into a kind of southwest, west-southwest direction. We have our invest 95 here. We have our other area of interest here, not yet labeled, but could potentially be going forward, depending on if the convective activity does continue. Anyway, 95 westward moving, this west-northwest moving as such. At the moment, the models do show this secondary system missing the Caribbean. Whilst this continues through the Caribbean, we'll see how things play out over the coming days. Other than that, we have a tropical wave in the Western Caribbean here. Also, a little bit of the remnants of TD4, which is still hanging in merely, should eventually make its way through the Gulf of Mexico and likely weakening out, but still giving some rainfall issues for the northern Gulf eventually. So that is the quick update here on what's going on, and specifically for 95L and its areas to be impacted. So again, areas that should really be paying attention to this system would be any of the islands from Trinidad up to Guadeloupe. Dominica, Guadeloupe should be paying attention, including the islands Grenada, St. Lucia, Barbados, Martinique, all the chain of islands down there in the Windward Islands should pay attention, and then also the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao should also keep an eye on this as well, as it is expected to be a relatively low riding, low tracking system as it enters the Caribbean. And then obviously over the next couple of days, we'll go into more details with other areas that could be impacted later on. So that is that quick update from me, Adam McDoom for Cayman Hurricane Center. I will be doing quite a few more updates throughout this upcoming week with this impending system. Also, I would like to hear from my viewers. Any questions, comments, please definitely do comment down below. Give this video a like and subscribe for more of the updates coming out this week. Thank you.